Hi everyone, this is Emily.
This is Stephanie.
And today we're actually going to do a TV review, I guess a book and TV review, comparison review of Anne of Green Gables. And the reason why I am slightly not clicking here is because the TV show itself is called Anne with an E. Mm-hmm. So there's certain discrepancies between the two, which clearly is what we're going to be talking about today,
right?
Between the book as well as the TV show. So do you want to go ahead, Steph?
Yeah, so the TV series is actually really short. First of all, it's from Netflix. There's only 7 episodes, and it really leaves you off as a cliffhanger. Like a huge cliffhanger, actually. I feel like it's one of those series where they only release half of the series, and then like a few months later they release the other half of the series. You know what I'm talking about when they do that sometimes? Because literally, I don't think this series really ended.
No, not
at all.
No.
So they better come up with a season 2 or the second half of the season. I don't know. But in comparison with the book, though, the book, I actually got the book recently. I haven't really read it. It's been a long time since I read the original book. But I do remember this as a series, and I remember Anne of Green Gables really grew up from when she first as an orphan to when she was an adult. So obviously I'm guessing this series will focus mostly on her childhood in general, just her childhood, and not really as she slowly grows up. I don't know. But yeah.
Yeah, I definitely say that's something I've really noticed about what was going on in the first book of the series, one that's most famous, would be that I feel like the reason why the series has definitely not ended is because Gilbert and her haven't really met on like a same turf yet, because like they're still sort of antagonist, like they're very they're each other's antagonists in a way. Gilbert less so because he clearly like likes Anne, but Anne doesn't
super obvious.
recuperate. I mean, what are his choices really on like all the people in the pier?
Yeah.
But
I have to say, I thought it was really funny because I think Gilbert is actually quite a cute little kid.
Yeah.
But like Anne is clearly like she keeps talking about how she's very unattractive, and among her peers, I do find her very unattractive. So it was really interesting when the first thing Gilbert said to his peers about her was, "She's pretty," and I was like, okay, well, this guy clearly has different tastes than the rest of us.
I think it's just that I think Gilbert as a character, I do like the fact that with the choice of actress, they really stayed true to the fact that Anne was not really that attractive of a person.
Right, and when a kid.
And yeah, when she was a kid, because most of us, I don't think it looked very nice when we were kids either, anyway. And she has this flaming red hair, and I think actually Gilbert, when she says that she's attractive, maybe mostly be talking about the mix of features. Like he definitely was looking not exactly at her, but sort of like at what was between the lines, kind of like her potential.
Yeah.
And the fact that she had such a distinct feature, she's always hated it, but I think in terms of Gilbert's point of view, he actually liked it because it was different from most of the other girls who like fawned over him.
Right.
And I'm not saying that guys or males are generally like this, but there's always
like that
hunt. Well, one is the hunt, and two, they generally also try to look for something different, I think.
Right.
Yeah, especially around his age. It's kind of like, oh, every girl's kind of like that. They dress the same, and then here comes this orphan girl who has absolutely no sense of like real prairie propriety, and like
I think he was a lot older and more mature compared to his peers because his mother was no longer around, so he was really doing a lot of the work, and his father was very sick.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think he realized, some of the responsibilities of being an adult a lot faster than a lot of his friends or his so-called friends at that time, who were really just spoiled brats. Like that's literally what it is. Because the way how they treated Anne, because she was an orphan, like even the parents, like the adults, were very rude to Anne as well, just because she was an orphan. And I'm like, well, why are you being rude to an orphan? Like, it's not like she can help it.
I would say the book itself very much sugar-coated over that. They were very, it was very much focused on the idea that the Cuthberts really accepted her, and the relationship between those two versus like the entire, I guess, community and how they may have some aversion to her. That wasn't as clear, I don't think, in my impression of the book. Yeah.
Okay.
But I think in the TV series, I also read elsewhere that the director really tried to give you a realistic idea of how bad it really was to be an orphan
at that time,
and to be and try and see why Anne was so insecure with herself and why she like consistently wanted certain things that she like at the time couldn't have.
I thought it was also really strange how they called it asylum. For the orphanages, they called them asylums.
Well, back then, asylums wasn't necessarily termed for those who were mentally disabled. Asylum was simply a place where someone sought refuge.
Oh,
and
really?
Was paid to like.
So my impression in time was like, why is she from a mental institution?
No.
And I was like, why? I'm assuming they mean orphanage, but just like it's weird terminology. I think that how much language, I guess, has just differed from the past to now.
Yeah, and I think in general though, it had like the past had to happen in order for that association to work. So
Right.
I think at the time, like asylum did not mean necessarily that you were going to be mentally ill. It was, like I said before, just a place for people who I guess were technically on the fringe,
Right.
to sort of be put together in one group to be taken care of. And I would say that some of the darker there's a lot of backstory to Anne too that I was a little surprised about, because I don't necessarily remember it all being in the book, where like she got like hurt or abused like earlier on in like her earlier families. I didn't realize that was a lot of the focus too.
She wasn't really abused. She was just more like she wasn't treated well.
I mean, in the TV series,
she was mostly taken as like the TV series, I would say, really took her time as an orphan. And a lot of people during that time would take orphanages in for like a servant, so she was treated as such. So I wouldn't say she was like abused necessarily. I would just say she was treated as if she was a servant.
Well, that's still abuse even if you're doing it to a servant.
But she was treated as she was a servant. Like,
yeah, but what I'm saying is that
not.
like it doesn't disqualify her as being abused.
But how was she abused? She wasn't really abused. She was just treated as a servant.
No. Servants shouldn't be treated like that, is what my whole thing is. She was neglected, first of all, because you said that she was being treated as a servant, but she obviously was also like scolded very like disproportionately for whatever she was doing. And then half the time, like there was mention that like because certain people had like alcoholic issues, that like she would also be like in the midst of the scurvy, and then like there was a lot of like discussion as to like.
But I wouldn't say that was abuse though, because just because where she was at, people were getting sick, doesn't mean that she was abused just for being there.
No, it doesn't. That's why I think that's what it was alluding to, that she was very much abused. Like that is child abuse.
Because she happened to be in a place where people had scurvy.
No, not necessarily scurvy. It's like all those other flashbacks that happen in the TV series where like obviously the mother.
But you also have to realize that at that time things were different. So when they did discipline, they actually disciplined hard. So people, like the parents would whip their kids for, as discipline, and she was whipped as such. We can agree to disagree, because I don't think she was abused at all. Like I think she was just more of like she was disciplined and she was treated as a servant as such in that time period that was relevant for that time period. Whether or not she's abusive today, in today's world, is a different story.
No, I'm not talking about today's world.
Different.
And it's just simply the fact that when certain acts are done, like they could be seen as abuse. Because
I don't know. I feel like in that time period, it makes perfect sense for her, because she was like, I mean, she shouldn't have been treated as a servant, but people did treat the orphans that they received as servants, so she was treated as such. And when she made mistakes, she got punished for it and disciplined as such during that time period. That was within the realms of that time period. So during that time period, I wouldn't consider what she went through as abuse. I would just consider it as discipline and punishment. Talking about the series again, anything else you want to add?
For the series, I'd say that overall, like a lot of the focus was on the relationship that Anne was starting to sort of establish with the Cupboards. It also did really mention how Matthew was getting sick, and that was near like the end, sort of like the closure of the book, of the first book too. So that's always a little worrisome for Anne. And then there was a matter of, I felt like overall like the series stayed pretty true to what the book what intended, but there was like darker elements to it, of course, that like we were obviously like
the
jabbing about before. Yeah.
Well, the ending for me, I thought was a dark element because it was like this huge like cliffhanger where you don't know what will happen. Obviously, clearly, things will work out at the end because we've read the series and I know what ultimately happens to Anne and the Cuthberts. But the thing is, at this moment, you're just like, how is this going to be portrayed on Netflix as a TV series? So, the ending, I don't know. I was a little like, I really like hope the hand, the little boy would like be like, that's the people, you know, and call them out. Do you know what I'm talking about right now?
Not exactly, no.
The ending?
The ending
of the series?
Oh. No, I don't really remember.
Where the two guys came in and they're bored. I don't want to like talk too much about it.
Oh, yeah. Now I remember. It took me a while. I was just like, wait, what are you talking about first?
So I'm really hoping that the hand will like, you know, next word be like, hey, and call them out. But we'll see. I don't know.
Well, overall, the series itself doesn't seem like there's an end to it, so we'll anticipate the next season.
Yes, hopefully there is. I don't know, actually. I feel like we should Google this and be like, is there going to be season 2? Apparently, it's actually a joint production between Netflix and Canadian, like CBC or something like that. So but the thing is, in Canada, I guess it didn't do well at all. Like the seasons, like the pilot episode only had like less than 1 million viewers, which is actually really, really low. So because of that, they might actually end up canceling on their end, in which case Netflix would have to take the whole production. But as of right now, it's a joint production, and I don't know, it's not confirmed.
Right.
So hopefully there'll be season 2, because this cliff ending is like not at all a good cliff ending. Like there's just so much like, you know, stuff riding up to it that I'm just like, please, I just want to know. It was actually really tough for me to like not finish it, but then when she told me that you finished it already, I was like, okay, well in that case I'm finishing it too. Because like we kind of like try to like watch it together when we can, so we can kind of like bounce ideas off each other while we're watching it. But because she like got really into it, I was just like, all right, I'm just gonna get into it too.
All right, well, thank you guys for listening to our very nice, I guess, like rip through and understanding of the series
and the arguments.
But yeah, in general, and with an E, it was I think it was a pretty clear extension, if not adaptation, of the book. And yeah,
and I'm still going to reread the book just because I really want to kind of get into the characters again in case there is a season 2.
But anyway, yeah, thank you for watching this video. If you would like to join in our discussion, if you had any questions, please comment down below.
I'm really curious to see what you guys have to say about the series in general, just because I've heard a lot of really positive reviews and heard a lot of negative reviews.
Those are always the best movies to watch.
Yeah, so I'm really curious to see what the viewers have to say and what they think about this, because I actually asked my sisters, I was like, oh, did you watch this series? If you do, you can actually join us as a guest, and like, because they're actually here this weekend, and you know, join us and talk about it. She's like, I didn't watch it. So I was just like, oh, okay. So I guess I feel like the most people who watch it are people who have read the original.
Yeah,
they know the original. So it really stands out to us, and the rest, the people with the younger generation, they never really got into this classic, so they just don't care.
I would say Anne of Green Gables is a relatively underrated series.
Classic, yeah.
And I think it's also a bit underrated simply because it's Canadian. But yeah, so remember to subscribe to us if you continue to want to watch topics from us, as well as books, reviews, and like this video if you liked the series in general or our commentary on it. And well, I guess we'll see you next time.
Yep.
All right, see you guys.
Bye.
Bye.